Now, I've been asked literally every day for the last 2 or 3 weeks about AI. AI, what's going to happen? What's the future? What should I do? What skills should I be learning? What should I be advising my kids? All these discussions over the last 3-4 weeks have been dominating my thoughts, but have also been dominating discussions that I've been having with a lot of different people. And for me, there's three pillars in this AI era. For me, and when I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking about this for quite a while now, is the next stage of humans and the next stage of evolution. Because there's the theory that yes, we need to regulate AI, and yes, we need to put measures in ways so that it doesn't get out of hand, so it's not programmed to do certain things that we don't want it to do. But we can't just rely on that. Humans have to find a way to get better. And when I say get better, start using more of our brain neurons, start exciting the brain, start extending our skills in different areas so that we can grow and develop and become a better version of ourselves. Now, I say there's three skills. If I was right this moment, and I don't care how old you are, because I don't think age plays a role, but right now, there's three things that I would be focusing on, and if you can only master one, you will not just survive the AI era, but you will thrive and grow. Now, I call this, I've named this the Ross theorem because I've created it. I don't know anyone else has created this theorem, but this is the Ross theorem. Okay, and for me, there's three pillars, and I say there's AI. Okay. AI, these are the three things, in my opinion, to thrive in this new AI era that you need to have. Then you've got deep learning how to learn deeply. So I'm talking about mastering one of these, and then you've got communication. So 1, 2, 3. Now, here's what's really important here. Okay, you've got AI, you've got deep learning in terms of deep learning our brain. Changing our brain model into a deep learning brain model, learning how to learn deeply as a skill. I heard Elon Musk say, it must have been a couple of months ago, the most important skill is learning how to learn. Well, I'll go one step further, it's learning how to learn deeply, okay? And communications. Now, here's my theorem, here's my theory, in my opinion, all right? You have to master one of these. You have to either master the skill of becoming a deep learner or the skill of communication. Now, when I was talking about the skill of communication, okay, there's only one skill of communication that really matters. I'm not talking about necessarily the way I talk or the way we send messages or the way we email. No. Communication for everyone has one audience, ourselves. It's the communication we say to ourselves that's going to drive our brain. This is such a big skill. If you can master the communication that you have to yourself, and there's skills and there's practices to do that, but if you can master what you say to yourself, because every single thing that you talk about, that you master, that you want to understand is how you communicate it to yourself. And this is a skill. It's not just something, it's if when you're talking, like me now, I'm talking in front of a camera and I'm talking to an audience, but I'm really, the main audience for me is me, because technically I'm actually talking to my brain. My brain is listening to what I'm saying, and I'm training my brain to start listening to what I'm saying. And this as a skill set is huge, because if you're into these areas, you're not so much into these, so you're not communicating, you're communicating something that's quite contrary to what you believe in, then your communication skills are going to basically decline. And communication in anything, if our communication to our brain is mastered, this filters out to how we communicate in the world, through our senses, through our actions, through the way we talk. You know, I see a lot of courses out there that talk about you communicating, say the right words or use the right body language and project and all this kind of rhythms, and that's all quite important. But if your communication to yourself, if you can't excite your brain by you talking to yourself and really exciting the brain and really making that into a skill, because it starts here. It starts by you being the audience, and then once you get that right, everything else in terms of your communication, in terms of how you communicate what you believe in the world, will come out, because there can't be a gap. Majority of people have been grown up with a negative self-talk. They've been taught and programmed, just like an AI, to be negative, to say no, to always think about why it can't be done. I mean, the old classic example is when you go and see a motivational speaker, and someone that really, really might excite you, and 99% of the time, people walk out, feel motivated, feel great, and then all of a sudden something happens and they've stopped doing those actions, or they've stopped pursuing what they felt because they're on a high, and now they're back to their normal self 2 months later, because the communication with our brain is not believing what we're saying. We have to start believing, we have to start being real, and we have to start talking to our brain, because the brain doesn't believe in what you're selling, it doesn't believe in what you're saying, it doesn't believe in what you're doing, it doesn't believe in your actions. If your brain doesn't believe it, how are you going to communicate it to the rest of the world? That's going to be the challenge. So communication is one of the big ones, and it's the communication to ourselves. Right now, as I'm doing this, I'm the audience. I am actually the audience here. I'm the number one audience here. And I'm actually doing this to myself because my brain's watching and listening, and it's taking notes. And this is not a perfect theorem, but it's taking notes. Now, let's move on. AI. Okay? When I talk about AI, I'm talking about because AI is so big now and so vast. If you can master AI in this era, okay, master this, or master this, deep learning, or master communication. If you can master one of these things on its own, that's fantastic. That's great. And when I'm talking about AI, I'm talking about the philosophy of AI. I'm talking about we can talk about the architecture of AI, the coding of AI. Okay, so it depends on which area of AI you want to. But here's the key here. Okay, watch how I haven't separated these circles. I've actually put a little bit of each circle in each other, because it's really important here. Let's assume I master deep learning. Stick with me for a minute. Let's assume I master this on its own. it's not enough. It's not enough in this next world for me to dominate. That's not going to get me over, okay, to the next phase where I need to be in this era, okay? I need to know a little bit about AI. I need to know a little bit about communication, okay? I don't have to master AI, nor do I need to master communication, but as if I master deep learning, okay, the deep learning skills, if I master this on its own, and I know a little bit about AI, and I know a little bit about communication, I will not just survive this AI era, I will thrive. I will thrive. Okay? I will thrive in this AI era if I master one skill and know a little bit about the other. Okay? That's the same if I master AI. Now, there is a lot of people that are really mastering AI, and that's fantastic. But if you master AI and you don't have a little bit of deep learning how to learn deeply, you don't have some skills and understanding of communication, again, you're going to struggle. Again, that's not enough for this next stage. So even if you master AI and you know a little, and you don't know anything about deep learning, or you don't know much about, because you meet these people that could be great engineers, great coders in AI, and of course they're not great deep learners or not great communicators. That's what they'll remain. They'll remain as coders, as engineers in AI, and eventually that's not going to be enough. You need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. This needs to flow into each other. This is really important. Same with communication. It's not enough to be a great communicator anymore. And when we talk about great communicator, let's assume the best communicator in the world. That's not enough anymore. That's not going to get you over the line. You need to, as a great communicator, you need to have a little bit of understanding of learning how to learn deeply. You need, in this area, to know a little bit about AI, because this is what people are looking for. Even the great new motivating speakers at the moment, they need to know, they need to keep progressing forward about how the brain works, how things work at a deeper level. So if you can master one of these pillars, and I call them pillars, if you can master one of these, my advice, there's three things. There's three things in this next stage that you need to master. You only need to master one of them. AI, deep learning how to learn deeply, or communication. Okay, these are the three things. These are the three things that if you master one of them and know a little bit about the other, you will thrive. You will not survive, you will thrive in this next era. Okay? Now, what happens, imagine if you can master two of them. Any one of these two. So imagine you master one of them, right? You will thrive. But imagine you can master two, any one of these two. Imagine you can master deep learning as a skill, and because you're a great learner, because you become a great deep learner, you then use that skill to master AI. Imagine that. You become a great deep learner, learning how to learn deeply. You use that skill because you mastered it, and then you master AI. If you can master this, and if you can master this, not necessarily master the third pillar, okay, if you can do that, you are changing the world. Let me repeat that, okay? If you can master any two of these, let's assume you're a great communicator. You're a master communicator, you master deep learning, or you're a master communicator, you master AI. If you can master any two of these and know a little bit about the third, you are changing the world. You're not just going to thrive, you're changing the world. Okay? Because this is not just a skill that you know about, you're mastering it, you're actioning it, you're actually in there deeply growing and developing, and you're changing, you're being creative. Any one of these skills, if you can master two of them, you're changing the world. Now, it gets a bit scarier. Imagine what would happen. Imagine what would happen if you can master all three of them. Imagine your goal. You master deep learning, learning how to learn deeply. Then you master communication, because you're going to use your skills as a deep learner to master communication. And then you master this, and then you also, through this skill, you master AI. Just imagine for one moment, you've done all three. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, that's hard. If you can master one of them, that's going to be really hard. If you can become a master deep learner, that is hard on its own. Okay, but this is the roadmap. Okay, I don't see any other roadmap to the future, in my opinion. Okay. Now, if you master deep learning, learning how to learn deeply, you master that as a skill, and then through that skill, you master communication, and then you also master AI, which again is not going to be easy. But you master these three skills, you're not just changing the world, you're at genius level. You're at genius level in this era, in the era of the AI. Now this, I've created this theorem. No, this is my theorem. No, I don't think, I've never seen it. I've just created it from my experiences, from my thoughts, from everything that I've learned and seen, and over at my journey, and the way I see it, because I've been asked a lot. What are the three, especially a lot of parents that are concerned about their kids. What are my kids going to do? What do you tell your kids? And I tell my kids three things: AI, deep learning, and communication. They're the three skills that I want you to master. But you can do that also as an adult. There's no reason why you can't do this as an adult. And deep learning, the reason why I'm pushing deep learning practices, because I think if you change your brain model to a deep learning brain, or learning how to learn deeply, and you change, we're rewiring the brain. In many ways, once you start rewiring the brain, you start getting new thoughts, you start getting new feelings, and you start getting new actions. And it's through that experience. Now, none of this is easy. I'm not for once telling you this is going to be easy. Communication is another one. If you're going to choose, if you don't know much about AI and you want to choose one of these two, communication is another one. Because, and I keep emphasizing, it's what we say to our brain. And we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and our thoughts are saying things to our brain. And we also go out to the community, and people are saying stuff, and that's being communicated to our brain. And it's how we can take control of our communication and how we control what we're saying to our brain. And again, I'm communicating now, there's a camera here, but I'm the audience. I'm communicating this to myself. My number one audience is me, is my brain first, and then the rest. And the skill of learning to master how you communicate to yourself is gonna change the wiring in your brain. We want to change that. And we don't just say it, we have to use our senses. And there's practices, communication skills and practices and that we do to change that. But again, this stuff is not easy. But if you were to ask me the roadmap to the future, one of these skills is for me what I would be mastering. And if you can master one, you're going to thrive. You will thrive in this era. If you master two, you're changing the world. If you master three, you're at genius level. You're at Elon Musk, you're at Steve Jobs, you're at Thomas Edison level of intelligence. Okay, but this is the roadmap. And I don't see, that's why I call it the Ross's theorem, because I don't see any other roadmap apart from these three, and I don't see how AI can in many ways do feelings and emotions. So AI can do data, but it can't do feelings and emotions. And our communication to ourselves, deep learning, is about feelings and emotions. And what we learn about AI, how we learn about AI, even if you learn about the history of AI, you learn a lot. Even if you look at the philosophy, I'm learning a lot about the philosophy of AI. Now I'm involved in AI, but I also love the history and the philosophy of AI, where it's gonna go. I mean, the cause of AI really comes from humans. We are curious. We like to solve problems as humans. Deep learners created AI because they wanted to solve problems. They saw a lot of processes, they saw a lot of transactions that were wasting humans' time, and they thought, we'll get a big sophisticated calculator to do this. And then we became curious, because that's our nature as humans, to become curious, and curious is a deep learning practice. That's what caused AI, and we became more curious. So because us humans are curious by nature, AI is not going to go backwards. It's not going to stop. And we can have this debate and say, well, we've got to put brakes on AI, and I've had a lot of discussions about, let's stop AI right now, and let's switch it off, and let's put a pause and all that. And I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm just saying right now, and right this path, assuming that doesn't happen, because this is bolted, I think this is where you need to be. You need to be here if you're going to thrive and grow and develop in this era and in the next phase of humanity.